welcome to class and welcome to Marketing Fundamentals. My name is Danae Starks and I am the Executive Director and Founder of Diversify Education Group. And at Diversify, we are a nonprofit. We specialize in all things education. We have programs for youth, but we truly specialize in adult education and closing those gaps in every area of adult education. And so that's just a little bit about what we do as an organization. We are partnered with BSBA to contribute to the TAP program, and we've been having an exciting time these past few months. And so we're rounding up to the conclusion of our program. We're glad to be back this week, today and Thursday. Today is marketing. On Thursday is the branding, which is the other half of marketing. There's marketing, there's branding, and everything's kind of rolled up into those two things. And so tonight, as we move forward, again, if there are any questions, comments, commentary, anything like that, please mute yourselves and add that to the chat. And that chat will be managed as well. Or you can raise your hand if you have a question as well. So we are going to jump right in. This course, as well as the branding course, is pretty much a lot of information derived out of the book that I authored a couple of years ago. It's called What's Next? It's a next level guide for marketing. And what it is a guide that helps us figure out what's next, right? We all get to that point in life where we come to that question, what's next? What do I do next? What's next for my idea? What's next for my job? Am I going to retire? Am I going to start something new? What is next and what does it look like, right? How am I going to get it out there to the marketplace? It's all about marketing. And so we will be diving right in on tonight. So our marketing course outline is just this. So there are 4 modules in this overall course of marketing and branding. The first 2 are tonight, which are your marketing strategies and your segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Very foundational information when it comes to marketing, but very necessary information to help us streamline our processes and be able to focus in and hone in on our groups and our markets and our targets, the people that we're going after for whatever it is that we sell as far as our products, but also as far as our services that we offer as well. So we will be moving forward with module number 1, which is our marketing strategies. So first we talk about the definition of marketing. The definition is simple: having the right product or service in the right place at the right time for the right price. This is also known as the 4 P's of marketing. And so with that, you have to have some sort of a product or service. So what exactly do you have? What exactly are you putting out there into the marketplace? And then it has to be at the right place, right? Because if you have something that's not going to do well in a certain area, then that may or may not be the right place for you. At the right time. Is it something that's seasonal? Is it something that can carry you through every season of the year? Is it something that is going to just be beneficial to you or for your business during this time of year, during COVID or pandemic or what have you? Is it something that, is only going to be for Christmas time or something like that? What is the right time? What is the right time for what it is that you have to offer? And then the right price, excuse me. The right price is just what it is. You don't have to be the lowest. You don't have to be the highest. You just got to have the right price for what it is that you are offering. This particular definition comes from the American Marketing Association. This is what they put out there when in their definition of marketing. So module number 1 starts with what it is we're marketing, right? So we've already defined marketing. So how will we create value? And how will we strategize a process that puts what we have out there into the marketplace? So if we have some sort of a business that's a restaurant, how is your restaurant going to add value to the conglomerate of millions of other restaurants in that same area, right? How are you going to add value? What value are you creating for your community, for your clientele, for your potential clientele? And then how are you going to do that? That's a part of your strategy. That's your process to marketing. Are you only marketing on social media? Are you going knocking door to door? Are you putting door hangers? How are you going to do this? What does your team look like? Who are they? What do they bring to the table? We need to see, in marketing, it's all about, again, price, product, place, and time, right? You got to have all these things in place, and kind of they all work in sync together. But ultimately it has to be something that creates value. So it's understanding your why, understanding what problems you solve in the marketplace. So again, if you have a restaurant, it's not a bad thing, right? Because your restaurant could be unique. It could be unique to the area. It could be unique with the products or the food that you serve. It could draw a unique clientele, a client base. It could be something that fulfills some sort of void in certain areas, right? It could be something such as offering vegan, a vegan restaurant in a certain community where there is no access to vegan food, or there's no access to it at a lesser price. What's the mission of the business? This is very important, especially for your business plan. Very important piece. And even in your business plan, there's a whole marketing component. There's an entire marketing plan as well. And in that, they want to know, what's the mission? What is the mission of your organization? What are you set out here to do? That should be something that's easily explained. And that should be something that you should be able to explain right away, right? I mean, by now, a lot of us have come on week after week, and we have been talking about missions and visions and all these things. So by now, it should be something short, something sweet, something that we can tell somebody. This is why I do what I do. This is why I exist. This is who we serve. And this is the purpose of why we serve this particular group, right? But we got to know what those groups are. We got to know our end goal, our beginning and our end. We kind of got to know that information in order to fulfill our purpose, to fulfill our why, and to fulfill our mission. Why are we here, right? Why would somebody pick my restaurant out of a million others? Why would somebody pick my burger shop over McDonald's or over Burger King or over something that's already been established for years and years and years? This is what people want to know. This is all about marketing. How are you going to let them know? Guess what? This is why you should pick me. I know they've been around for 50 years, but this is what I bring to the table, and this is what I can offer you. My price is this, my food quality is this, my options are this, or what have you. What is it? And it's perfectly good and necessary to actually document these things in your business plans, in your marketing plans. Talk about these things. Talk about what it is that makes you unique out there in the marketplace. What is it that causes people to want to call your line or email you or go to your website? What will draw them in? What's your overarching goal? So how do we strategize, right? How will we deliver this product or this service? How are we going to do that? Is it going to be something that, again, is limited to just being advertised on social media with a flyer? Is it something that, is going to go out at networking events, or you're going to make presentations? How are you going to market? How are you going to do that? Marketing is all about getting your brand out there, getting your name out there, letting people know who you are by any means necessary. If you got to wear it on a t-shirt that looks really cool so that people purchase it, or they stop you on the street and say, hey, what is that? That's a really cool design, or that's a really cool saying, or that's a really cool logo. Things like that, right? Things that are eye-catching. How are we going to draw attention to us in a positive light so that people want to purchase our services? They want to purchase our products. What do our operations look like? Are we a one-stop shop? Are we a single, just owner-occupied type of establishment where there's no employees, there's no additional help? So in our busy season where, we have a lot of backup and we might be delayed, is it something where we only import from overseas and so we create delays there? Is it something that, included in our operations, that we utilize distributors who are right here, who are local, who are easily accessible? How are we operating? What is it that we're doing that makes it easier for us to put our products and our services out there quicker, easier, simpler, and more efficient to our clients? Sales, what does that look like? What's your pricing, right? If you go through what is your slogan, or, slogans of what is it, Walmart, the low price leader, and different things like that. Now, if we look at Walmart and Target, two department stores or variety stores, whatever you call them, right? They have groceries, they have clothes, they have shoes. They essentially have the same types of products. What makes them different? A lot of times it's the price, number one, because Target is a little more expensive than Walmart is, right? You might find something at Walmart that could be a couple of dollars more or less. The designers for the clothes, a little bit different, right? Target's clothes look different than Walmart's clothes. Now, there could be some packaged things such as Hanes or, some of those packaged products that may be the same, but they still have different prices. And why is that, right? I recently went to the furniture store and got some new furniture. This guy, this salesperson was absolutely amazing. He was absolutely amazing. And he was, I would send anybody to him, not because he talked a good game or told great stories, but he truly knocked the price to whatever, down to whatever he knocked to. But I know from just my own personal Google search that he knocked it down to something that was comparable to what others are offering in the market. Now, the real price of it was $2,000 more than what he knocked it down to. I didn't even have to ask for the knockdown. He said, hey, because you came in here 2 weeks ago and just looked around and I just told you if you need anything, come back and ask for me, and you did, this is what I'm going to do for you. That's all about marketing, right? He marketed for that furniture store probably without even realizing it. And he marketed very efficiently and effective to me the first time I went. So the second time I went, guess what? I looked for him, because if I'm going to buy something, I'm going to give him the sales, right? They work off 100% commission. Why not help somebody else out that actually helped me? He voluntarily gave me a better discount than what the sale actually was. He voluntarily did certain things. That's all about our strategy for marketing. Now, if anybody's been in the sales industry or is in the sales industry, then we know there are certain tips that they tell us on how to sell things, right? You tell these great stories and make them feel so just engaged. You draw them in and you make them feel like the price is really the lowest price, although there's probably a lower price out there for the same exact product somewhere else. It's all about the buy-in, right? They get us psychologically to where we're like, oh my God, I feel like they just love me so much and they're willing to do anything for me. In reality, they're probably just willing to do that for anybody, right? It's just all about the sales pitch. It's all about the sales, the operations. He told me up front, hey, I can check for you, but you may not be able to get this product for about 3 weeks. Are you okay with that? Certain things like that, little tactics that are very meaningful in the end. Because if I'm looking for something tomorrow, that would have been the end of that conversation, right? But at least I knew up front instead of going through all the motions only to be disappointed on the back end. That's all a part of our strategy towards marketing, towards selling, towards pricing, towards getting people's buy-in into what we are offering. So marketing is all about making your product stand out. You got to have something compelling, right? Again, this guy at the furniture store, he had just such compelling stories, story after story after story. And it wasn't overbearing. It wasn't overwhelming. It seemed really relatable. It seemed like, everybody's going through something right now with pandemic and different things going on, different challenges. And so these stories were just like, wow, it wasn't all the time. He timed it perfectly. I'm telling you, this guy was like top salesman of the year, I'm sure. He was great, compelling, very compelling. The messaging was very authentic to my conversation with him, right? The platform, I was there in the store, but the store has a commercial on TV. They have billboards all over the place. They say, here's our sales, come in. You have 0% financing for 6 years. Like, who does this stuff, right? These are all tactics. These are all tactics to draw people in, because people are saying, hey, I don't have to pay everything right now, and I have 6 years to pay the same price I would pay if I paid it all up front. What a deal, right? I'd much rather do that if I can. So these are some marketing tactics. You have to have something that causes you to stand out. When it comes to furniture stores, God knows we have so many furniture stores around town. We have, the high-end brands, other brands. We have, like, if you think about Ashley Furniture has its own store, but they sell their branded furniture in other stores for cheaper, right? You can go to a store on Florin Road and get Ashley Furniture, same quality, brand new, $2,000 cheaper than what you get it at the Ashley store, right? It's all about marketing. some people may not know that. They may not know that they can go over here and get the same exact thing, the same brand, the same everything for a cheaper price. But they're going to go over here because it's the brand name, or that's the commercial that they saw, or that's the salesman that they're being loyal to. It's all about making yourself stand out. You got to stand out in the crowd. If you have something, I use this example all the time. There's 10,000 options of bread in the bread aisle in the grocery store, right? What makes your bread ingredients or your bread design unique, right? Why would I create a new type of bread? It has to be something, right? It has to be something that qualified you to get into the stores. It has to be something that drew you out from the crowd. So just because somebody else is doing it, we don't have to feel any types of ways. Just because somebody's already out there doing what we're doing, we just have to make ourselves stand out, make our products stand out, and make our services stand out. Do we want to be really at the high end of the pricing right now when COVID, with so many people have lost jobs, with so many people who are struggling and just having these different challenges? Is it really beneficial to charge high rates and have high expectations for high clientele? Some things we have to just evaluate, and we got to evaluate that so that we can put it in our messaging. We can put it out there on the proper platforms, and we can put it out there as compelling products. Now, realize if you want to remain at a higher price, that's cool. You got to do what works for your business. But maybe your clientele, you may see some adjustments in that. You may see some changes. You may see some shifts coming on. And so we have to learn, if COVID hasn't taught us anything, we got to learn how to be flexible and pivot, which is the word that a lot of people have, been saying. Module number 2. So that's it about marketing, just basics of marketing, right? Knowing your why and talking about, positioning yourself. Why do we position ourselves, right? We are going to talk about that here. So module number 2 is your segmentation, your targeting, and your positioning. It is so important to understand these 3 things. Your segments are your groups that you're pulling your targets from. So you have groups of people who have, like in kind, similar characteristics or demographics, they call it, right? So they may have certain behaviors that are alike. They may have certain attributes that are alike. They may be from the same background or the same religious beliefs or something like that. Those are your segments. Of the segments, out of the segments, who are we targeting really? Now, you could be targeting multiple segments at the same time. You really can. But if we want to target all segments, we got to have a strong strategy in place to be able to target them, position ourselves for all of those segments, and be able to win the deals, right? So with our targeting, we're selecting segments are larger, they're larger groups. Our targets are smaller groups from the segment. And then how we position ourselves, right? That is where the marketing strategies really come in. How am I going to branch off into this particular industry? How am I going to do that? And how am I going to branch off into that industry only targeting specific age group, specific background, specific religious groups, or what have you, whatever it is? How are we going to do that? And then how are we going to position ourselves to gain some sort of establishment in that market, gain our image, gain our identity, be able to brand ourselves, and people really know who we are, and not just know who we are, but they actually come and they support us and what we have to offer. So market segmentation is pretty cool. So this is, like I said, it's the groups, right? These are the larger groups. These are your larger scale groups. So who are you really targeting is the real question. You're targeting some segment of people. So is it your geographics, where they're from? Are you targeting people in Sacramento? Targeting people in Sacramento County, which is beyond Sacramento City? Are you targeting people that are in a certain socioeconomic status, certain religious, certain educational brackets? Are you targeting people that, do certain activities? If you have a sporting goods store, you're probably focusing on people who are active, or you're encouraging people to want to be active. If you have some sort of, again, a restaurant, you're probably catering to maybe multiple segments, right? Because you just want to bring in clientele to try your food or to try your drinks or what have you. I recently learned of a new dessert spot out in Rancho Cordova, and I tried it and it's really good. But I was kind of hesitant because I'm like, well, there's tons of yogurt spots everywhere where you just load in your own, load in your own cup and do all that stuff, fill it up with all the different treats and things like that. Tons of those places right here in Elk Grove where I live, where I could just go down the street. But because it was brand new and because of the logo, it looked really cool to me. That was eye-catching enough to draw me into their store. So their market, their target is anybody, right? Anybody in any of these segments is who they're targeting. If you work in event planning, you're probably targeting anybody in any of these groups, right? You're probably willing to do maybe, wedding events or some sort of christening events or baptism, whatever it is. You could be putting together this or that engagement parties or what have you, baby showers and all types of things, all types of outdoor opportunities now. Since COVID, people have really been unique with what they're going after. And so our target markets are derived from these segments. And so when we look at our marketing, sometimes it's more beneficial to hone in on these segments, to kind of start out limiting ourselves to, I want to work with people in the city of Sacramento that are between the ages of 25 and 40, that are very active and go walking every day at the park or every couple of days at the park. And then people that have some positive habits, right? They do positive things. They may go out into the community and do a lot of outreach or something like that. That's some examples of pulling out targets from segments. So segments are your larger scale, targets are your smaller scale. Again, some opportunities are going to have they're going to be limited to certain targets, right? You're going to target specific groups of people, while others are more broad. And so they're more open to other groups of people or to all groups of people, really. Target marketing is, again, it's who you're going after specifically. So are you going after mass markets, which is going into a global industry? Is that your goal, is to go global, right? And with social media, with websites, with all these things nowadays, it makes it easier for us to go global. The global market is kind of at our fingertips at this point. We are able to reach people from all over the world at this point. But is that really your goal? Is that beneficial to your industry and to what your services or what your products are? Is that beneficial? Broad markets. These are your markets that are maybe just within the United States, or maybe you're like Target. And so you're like a department store where you have a little bit of everything. You're not a niche market where you're only a pharmacy and that's it. And so you only cater to people who need medications and things like that, right? You're only working with doctors or healthcare. Or you're a niche market because you're only in one location instead of being in multiple cities, multiple states, multiple regions, right? So your mass markets are very large. Do you want to go there? There's tons of opportunities, right? Do we want to stop at broad markets maybe and just be in a couple of places at the same time? Or do we want to start off or focus in on a specific niche market, right? I use this example all the time, especially during holiday time. A perfect niche market right now during holiday season is a bakery that does very good sugar-free desserts, because during the holiday season, there's a lot of diabetics, right, that want good desserts that are also sugar-free, or that won't completely just ruin their blood sugar, because they have these cravings and want to eat something good for the holidays like everybody else is, right? If there is somebody who can create some awesome pies and cakes and cupcakes and just some really good stuff, that is a niche market that is in need right now. There's a huge audience out there right now just for you. That's a niche market and we need it. We need markets out there that focus on tutoring right now for helping these children. A lot of children, everybody's on Zoom mostly, right? And a lot of people are struggling. A lot of children are struggling. Parents are trying to help, can't really help because school is different these days than it even was when I was coming up. I mean, lessons are it's just different, right? And it's like, you know the answer, but then your kids are telling you that's not the answer and you didn't do it right. My teacher says I'm gonna get it wrong. We need some tutors. That's a niche market. We need some tutors. We need some tutors to help us. And we need some tutors to help us in this season right now that we're in. That would be beneficial. These are just some ideas. So if anybody's thinking about what do I do next, and you have some of these qualities, hey, jump right in, because we need that. We need that help. But again, those are niche markets. Tutors aren't necessarily full-time teachers, right? They're not necessarily full-time in the education industry or in the education environment, but they tutor, which means they hone in on certain skills to be able to help someone else. And it's so needed right now. It's so needed right now. We have tons of grandparents taking care of younger children that, there's classes for technology that are even needed right now, some technological things, a Zoom training class. Like there's tons of opportunity for niche markets that I see now than ever before. So market positioning, again, we talked about the segments, which are larger scale. We talk about the markets, which are, more focused in. You're focusing in on something, right? And it could be multiple things, but you're focusing in on those things. Now we talk about positioning. So what is your clientele or your customer base? What are they really buying from you? Are they really buying an experience, or are they really buying like a good experience or a bad experience? Are they buying fast service, quick service, efficient service, optimal service? What is it that they're actually buying from you? Are they buying bad attitude, unpleasant environment, unhealthy environment? What exactly are they purchasing from you? This has to do with your positioning in the marketplace. Your positioning is simply your identity as a business. So who are you? What do you look like? And how do I identify you? How do I look at you, right? How do I look at this particular business and view them? Do I view them as something that, I would support? I would, go to? Did I have a bad experience? This is where like Yelp, Angie's List, and all these feedback places, this is where it really comes into play. It really comes into play with our positioning. Because if somebody goes on Yelp and they're looking for a veterinarian in Sacramento, and they see that, there's some veterinarians 2 minutes away from their house, but they have horrible reviews, and customers have had a horrible experience, and their price is really high, and this and that, right? Those are some turnaways. That's all a part of marketing. That's all feedback to help us with our marketing and help us kind of re-strategize, come up with maybe some new numbers, come up with maybe some new customer service ideas and things like that, right? When we're looking at Angie's List for contractors, or we're looking at Nextdoor for other services or what have you, we want to utilize those things because they help us and they show the world where we are in the marketplace. They show our positioning, right? So what is it that your customers are really buying from you? What are they really, really purchasing from you? And then how is your product or service different from your competitors? Do you offer online purchasing? Maybe you're a restaurant and you couldn't do outdoor dining, right? But maybe you could do DoorDash, or maybe you could do some of these other services that are available. Maybe you could do delivery. Maybe you could contract with certain industries that are not closed, construction industry and other industries that are blowing up right now. Maybe you could partner with them and get contracted with them to be their food service provider. How are we doing this thing? How are we doing this thing? How are we setting ourselves apart? How are we getting ourselves out there so that people know who we are, they know what we bring to the table, and they select us? Do we have healthy food options versus non-healthy food options? Sometimes the unhealthy food, it's really good usually. However, we usually feel it same day, next day, a couple days later if we have too much of it, right? Sometimes we just want something healthy. Sometimes we just want a piece of fruit. But if I go to your market and all of your fruit is always bad, I'm probably not going to go there anymore, right? Your position in the marketplace is probably going to move down a little bit if you consistently have challenges, right? Do you have a kid-friendly environment, or is it an environment where they can't bring their children? They just, maybe it's a rule, or maybe they just don't feel comfortable. They don't feel safe. What is it? What is it that keeps you and that's making you different as you're moving in the marketplace? What makes your products and services stand out? So not just what makes you different, what makes you stand out? Like what makes you pop? What makes you just like be the light of the world out there in the business world, right? Do you offer specific options in specific regions? When I think about this, I think about like In-N-Out Burger, right? A lot of people, all my family's from the East Coast, from New York. And when they come to California, the first stop is In-N-Out Burger. I don't know why, because New York has amazing food and amazing burger shops, but they don't have In-N-Out Burger. And there's something about In-N-Out Burger's flavor and taste and fries and burgers and all that stuff that they desire as soon as they touch down in Sacramento or in California in general, right? So what is it that makes you stand out? Is it something that they can't purchase anywhere else? They can't purchase in a whole nother region, in a whole nother part of the country? Are you the lowest price? And so I can depend on you to keep your prices what they are and not be the low price today, but be the highest price 2 days later and be even higher than that 3 days later and be inconsistent with pricing? Or do you offer one of a kind? Sometimes it's not even about pricing. It's about what can I get that's gonna sit in my house, sit in my office, sit in my car, that I can use, that's gonna be something unique, right? That's gonna make me stand out. What is it that you can offer me? Is it a one of a kind that nobody else will ever have? Or is it something that everybody's got? And I don't know if I really want that, right? Is it something unique? What is going to help me to stand out? This is all very, very, very important for where you fall in the marketplace. What will make someone select you over the next person? And all of this content is very helpful for the marketing section of the business plan, because these are all things to explain in the marketing section, how you're going to do these things, how you're going to get to market, not just making t-shirts and selling them, or not just, having a flyer for my event, but you're going to talk about who your competitors are. You're going to talk about what makes you stand out. You're going to talk about what your target is. You're going to talk about all these things. So it's very helpful information for what is needed. That is the end of the presentation on tonight. Are there any questions? Any questions about anything that we went over?
You have a question in the chat from Curtis Howard. Curtis, do you want to ask your question or you want me to read it?
I can ask the question.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Sure.
So, Ms. Starks, with regard to my budget, on a ballpark figure, how much of my budget should I be allocating to marketing?
Typically, you want to allocate no more than 30% of your budget to marketing.
Okay.
It doesn't, yeah. A lot of times funders and investors and things, they don't want to see a lot of the budget going towards marketing unless you've received money specifically for marketing purposes. So if you've received money specifically to market, then those monies should be fully allocated for what the purposes are. But, if you're just creating your overall organizational budget, then no more than 30% is usually the standard for a marketing budget. So that will include all your banners, that will include all your physical marketing things, any type of branding ideas, your logos, all those costs that become involved with, if you're paying for press releases and other things like that, if you're having networking events, whatever it is, all of that should be kind of wrapped into the 30%.
And just a tag along question, would you say that grassroots and more personal marketing is more effective, like you said, networking events versus digital marketing and like billboards and flyers, which are a little less personal?
I would say it depends on your industry. So depending on what you're doing, it may be more beneficial to be on a billboard, or maybe in 5 years, your goal is to actually get a billboard and I want to be on the main freeway, the main highway, or something like that. But for smaller scale, there are free things that everybody can do, no matter what the ultimate goals are. There's a lot of free avenues for marketing. But then if you're doing, like you said, grassroots things, going to community events and having these networking seminars, a lot of them virtual now, and different things like that, those are always great as well. But again, choosing your strategy for marketing is dependent on your industry, depending on what your business actually is. And it also depends on what your budget is. Because if you've got $500, right? What can really fit into that $500 for marketing component? If you got $5,000, what can fit, right? Maybe it's feasible to do a billboard of some sort. Maybe it's feasible to do some of these things, and maybe it'll be more beneficial depending on the industry that you're in. It may be more helpful to aid you in this way versus this way. So there's a number of factors. It's not really kind of a straight answer, but there's a number of factors to consider when you're considering your strategy to marketing, which would be, like you said, grassroots events versus larger scale kind of visual aids.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, you have another question in the chat from Mohammed. What can you recommend as some of the inexpensive marketing options for businesses?
Sure. Yeah. I love talking about the free things or the inexpensive things, but I don't know if you all are familiar with Fiverr, Fiverr. Fiverr is a service. I know some people, haven't had good experiences, but I've always had great experiences. It's a service where you can get lots of things done at a very low cost. It's not free, but it's very low cost. So something that we can all utilize that is free is, your Facebook, your Instagram, social media. We will be having a social media marketing class coming up that's going to be very, very, very good and very, very, very helpful for us to utilize social media in the most impactful way to increase our audiences. So stay tuned for that class coming up on December 21st. So you have social media, you have your immediate kind of group, your immediate leads. Word of mouth is always a very strong marketing tactic, always, because again, word of mouth can either make or break you, right? That's free. Fiverr, you can go on Fiverr and they can do all types of design work. You can get some commercials made. You can get some infomercials made. You can get some infographics. You can get the little animated videos. You can do all kinds of really cool, professional looking things that you can just kind of post, or you can share, you can distribute. You can use, MailChimp for mass emails, right? You can start on your website. You can have a subscription option. Maybe you have a website where people want to subscribe to something. Even if you don't have a major offering, you can utilize that as a tool for people to subscribe. That way, when you're sending out emails or sending out things, they automatically have your information up front, and they automatically have what it is that you are offering to them, such as flyers, events, things like that. Also utilizing platforms such as this, like Zoom, StreamYard, Google Meets, anything like that where you can host something virtually right now is probably one of the most beneficial things. I know a lot of people are shying away from some of those things virtually, but it's kind of like the way it is right now. And if we make the best of it, it could really benefit us in the long run and in the short run, actually. Getting ourselves out there by networking is always a great thing. Some networking events are free. Some networking events are at a cost. So for a low cost, you're looking at flyers, you're looking at, the free things that we've already shared. You're looking at apparel. Most people love apparel. They love cool hats, shirts, pins, all kinds of things that they can wear on them or utilize, tangible things, right? And if you have a cool logo or you have something that you can just stick on a shirt or something, usually people, if it looks really eye-catching or something like that, someone may stop you along the way. That's all free advertisement. It's free. You can set up a LinkedIn account. You can do all kinds of things. That you can create a newsletter. You can do blogging. Blogging is also very, very cool, depending on, what industry you're in. You may or may not have time to blog or to write. But I always refer people to Fiverr for services if they're looking for something great at a lower cost. If you have a little bit more to spend on something, then, of course, there's other options out there. But if you're looking for low cost ideas and ways to get yourself out there to market, there's still the door to door, and not saying door to door physically like in a neighborhood, but, if you have a product that you believe is something worthy of one of these large companies, Walmart, Target, some big box store. If you think it's worthy to be in there, it's still valuable to walk in and meet the manager. Just ask for them. Can I talk to your manager today? And actually just shake hands, or, elbows nowadays. Nobody's really shaking hands, but, do the whole meet and greet in person. That stuff, it still works, and it's still very meaningful and still very valuable to people if you walk in and talk about what it is that you offer. But again, right now, I would highly suggest to utilize whatever you can virtually and whatever you can over social media, over websites, all those types of things, because it seems like there's an influx of attention on those platforms. There's an influx of resources on those platforms, an influx of networking opportunities on those platforms now more than ever before. Hope that helps. And then anyone else? Heidi Williams, you said, you put it in there. Okay, fiber. There are some priority industries, like I said, right now. And some of those priority industries, again, are childcare services. They are tutors, anything dealing with K through 12 education, any, education consultants, things of that nature. Even in the events industry, I know a lot of times a lot of people have missed out because they do gigs and events and things like that. But I'm even finding out through even just these types of platforms, the TAP program, where people are coming together from all over the place, where our business writing lab, we had a person talking about what they do in AV. And there was a person saying, hey, call me because I do events and I need your services. It was amazing, right? So platforms like that where you can network, meet new people, and share what you have. Having that elevator speech ready to go for that one opportunity is key. Anyone else? Any other questions?
Is the elevator speech, could that be considered part of your marketing strategy? Or could you make that part of your marketing strategy?
Yeah, it is actually. It's a part of your marketing because it's just a quick conversation, right? It's something that's really intended to be a natural conversation. Now, some people do practice their elevator speech because some people have a hard time talking to people and being like in public or even being one-on-one. But if you are in a random place, say you're in a public place, you're in an elevator, and you just happen to be in there with one other person, you don't know them, but if they say, good morning, how are you doing? And you just turn around and like completely ignore them, you could miss out on the opportunity. They could be an investor of like $1 million that may want to invest in your services or your products, right? And we could miss out on the opportunity. So the elevator speech, having something like that ready to go and kind of practicing it or utilizing it, standing in the mirror and going over it from time to time is very, very beneficial for that one opportunity, because that's all it takes is that one opportunity. So when we are thinking of our marketing strategies and things like that, it is a great idea to have the elevator speech ready to go, to come up with an elevator speech. Does everybody know what that is? If not, I'll kind of explain it. It's something that's quick, right? What's your mission?
Example.
So example is, I'll do the example with you, Selena. So let's say, what do you do for a living?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not good on the spot. Ask Angela, ask Gino, ask somebody else.
This is exactly my point, right?
Okay.
When we come to an elevator speech, right, this is what happens. We get thrown off, right? We got this, like, I mean, you know me, but usually it's like a stranger and they're like, so what do you do? And you're like, but we do it every day, right?
Right.
So, okay, let's start over. Okay, so Selena, tell me a little bit about what you do.
A lot of things. I consult. I do consulting on the side, and then I'm also the president of the Black Small Business Association of California.
Now, can you tell me about the Black Small Business Association of California? I'm really interested in that.
Yes, the Black Small Business Association of California is a membership organization that was created out of sheer frustration because people, Black people in particular, Black businesses were not being able to access financial resources that were available, including loans, unemployment assistance, the pandemic unemployment assistance. And it just enraged me that my community was left out of these types of opportunities.
And so what'd you do about it?
So I started the Black Small Business Association of California. And what we offer is up-to-date resources, professional development, and advocacy.
Perfect. That is an elevator speech. Quick, to the point. You know, you talked about the mission, which is why you do what you do. You talked about that, why it started, how it started. And then you talk about how you not only have identified a problem, but now you have created some solutions for those problems, right? So it's quick, it's to the point, but it kind of gives a well-rounded view of who you are, what you do, and how some money, some financial gain, some sort of support, or something of that nature can help us push our mission to the next level, right? So that's what an elevator speech is. They call it an elevator speech because back in the day, they literally used to do this in elevators. Like, you know, you get in there with a stranger and you spark up a conversation. That was like when you take sales classes, they kind of tell you that, like, yeah, just go in there with a stranger and just spark up a conversation. You know, you might, if you're a real estate agent, you might get a house sale. You know, if you're an insurance agent, you might sell some insurance, whatever it is, just by having that challenging conversation for some, right? Because everybody's not open to speaking to strangers, right? So we have to challenge ourselves as business owners. When it comes to marketing, we've got to learn to take every opportunity that we can to get our businesses out there. Are there any other questions? Who else wants to do an elevator speech? I think that's great.
You have a question in the chat from Della Henderson. She said, how would you suggest advertising a tutoring service?
I would go directly to the school districts and I would go directly to schools within the area. You can start off with schools right in your immediate neighborhood. You can start off with parents that you already just know. You can start off, you know, with your immediate audience that you already have, that know you, that know what you do. Now, I personally know Della, and I know she's been in the education industry for children for a long time. So, you know, having that background, telling people where you come from, what you do, why you do, and why you're passionate, and your passion will come through that. But you want to help people and you want to help children, especially at this time. But getting yourself out there as a tutor, get a name, you know, a business name for the tutoring business. Get that part of it set up, and then take yourself out there. It'd be worth it, like I said, to coordinate with some school districts, coordinate with some local schools starting right in your neighborhood, coordinating with some parents right in your neighborhood, or just some family members or something. You have to have a circle that you start with, especially for tutoring, because at this point, it's either going to be online or it's going to be that person being comfortable to allow you to come into their home. And so you have to be, you know, it's got to be a comfortable feel behind your approach and behind your strategy. And so that's kind of how those would be my suggestions for tutoring. Also networking with, there are some education associations out there, some tutoring, what do you call it? There are after school programs that have associations, the National After School Network. They have an association of all the different after school programs in California. And that's a great place to start, because a lot of the after school programs are no longer after school. They're responsible for the day program, basically, where they have to be with the kids and they're online and stuff like that. And the kids need help. So lots of opportunities for tutors and lots of places to start with. But I would first get a name, and then maybe create some flyers or some handouts or some brochures or something like that to be able to accompany your speech, right? When they say, oh, what do you do? How do you do it? You know, who do you cater to? Are you just doing first grade? Are you doing first through fifth grade? You know, it's got to be, you got to have some information to provide as well along with it. So going beyond the speech to having some tangible goods, some handouts, some brochures, a really cool flyer, something, right? And then making those immediate connections as well. But I would definitely utilize immediate circles, schools within the local area, and then branch out, to the additional areas, and then realize what capacity you can take on as well if you're operating by yourself, or if you're operating with a group of people. How many people can you really reach? How much time is going to be involved in this? And can you match that time with just yourself? So lots of things to consider with it, but there's definitely opportunity out there for it. But what about hooking up with some of these? The daycares. A lot of daycares right now are overseeing the distance learning for the children that they do watch, and that's a lot for a daycare provider to watch children longer than what they normally would, to watch more children, and now to actually kind of be like a teacher almost. It's a lot. So definitely hooking up with some daycares as well is definitely a huge opportunity there too. We've got about 9 minutes left. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions?
What do you think about giving out samples? If I'm a massage therapist and I work with athletes, do you think sampling is a effective way for marketing?
Yes, sampling is a really good, effective way. Now, tell me, how are you thinking about sampling in your industry for massages?
So I pretty much work mainly with athletes, elite athletes. My goal is trying to get with like a professional sport team, but I own two business, actually two offices, one in San Rafael and one in Sacramento. I've been doing this for 20 years, but I'm planning to give free 30 minutes free work for anybody that want to try me out, and then that's pretty much what I want to do, like just offer free work, because I feel my quality of work is what brought in a lot of clients, and
Mhm.
word of mouth. That yeah that Word of mouth and sampling with been my strongest marketing skills.
Yeah, I think that for your doing something like that would be a great idea. Like you said, offering, the 30-minute samples, the 20-minute chair massages or something like
Yeah.
that. That's a great idea, because then you can, people can try you out, test it out, purchase a service from you, purchase a gift card or what have you, to be able to use you at, later times, or use you
Sure.
frequently if you have packages, or something
Sure.
of that nature. That's an awesome time and an awesome way to market your services, because with massages, you know, they're great, right? When you find a great masseuse, right?
Right.
So sometimes people have had some challenges, but if you're able to test it out first, how awesome is that, right? So I think that's a great idea. Can you put your information in the chat?
Yeah, I put my company. That's it.
Yep, your company information.
Yeah, it's just Better Living Massage Therapy.
Better Living Massage Therapy. Okay.
You
Got
wrote
it.
it to me privately. Are you comfortable with putting your phone number, or how do you take your appointments?
You have a website?
Yeah, I do. I have a website. Um, I take appointment over the phone. I do put my stuff on Groupon. I've been getting a lot of that, actually, my appointment through Groupons, and but my yeah. So I I run two offices, so that's the dilemma for me, to go back and forth. So I was trying to hire some more people to help me with the other office, but I don't know if it's smart to, with my type of business, to have someone do my type of work. It's just like a hairstylist. Like, people come and want me to really instruct them and work on them, So what do you think, me keeping my business as just minimal and not expanding? What Because I think expanding, it just costs more energy, and it's just out of focus. What do you see?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to your segments and your targets. So
Mhm.
if you want to target a certain base, so like if you want to go on Groupon and you want to, target your what you're offering your massage services to, for certain pricing or certain things like that to cater to certain groups of people. Maybe you want to do the, only offer between this time and this time for the Groupon services. If you purchase this, you can only use it on Monday through Friday, not on weekends
Sure.
from 3 to 5 or something like that,
I get-
But for your industry, limiting is probably, it could be safer right now,
Okay.
just with everything going on.
Yeah.
Kind of limiting those services could be safer, but
Yeah.
I would say you kind of, if you have a team or you have some people to kind of run your ideas by, your strategies by, your thoughts and considerations for your business, because I don't know everything about your exact business and what you can, how you can afford to do certain things and what may work for you. But I think running it by maybe your immediate support group or business consultant, mentor, coach, or what have you, if you have one, that would be probably a great idea to kind of brainstorm those thoughts out.
Sounds good. Yes. Thank you.
I
Yeah,
got
you're
something
welcome.
to say to that. Just for anybody listening, that I found out that growing is not always good. Sometimes it's better to focus on just making your company the best it could be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. You've definitely got to grow when you're ready. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday too. Expansion, is it time or is it not time? Maybe we stay right where we are and we wait till next year and see what happens. And then maybe we can expand then, So that was some great feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to add something as well to that.
Mm-hmm.
Just by listening as well, if you were giving me the free 30-minute massage, I would definitely want you to continue to give me the massage, the 30, the massages, and not someone else, because I'll say, oh man, I wanted, this gentleman or the owner who got it. So you have to keep that in mind as well.
Correct.
That's what I thought about when you thought about bringing other people on. You would probably want them to give the 30-minute massage so those people would know what to expect, because everybody massages differently.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the feedback. Yes, it helps my decisions.
Mm-hmm. That is great feedback. Anyone else? Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, Danae. This is Alfreda. I wanted to ask, because I missed the first two parts of the marketing fundamentals, are they going to be given again this year, or do I have to wait till next year?
So the way it's been done, these are 3 series, but but they restart each month. So today, so you didn't miss anything. You actually got the first one.
Oh, okay.
The second one is going to be on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be talking about branding and all that stuff. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I would encourage everyone to come up with your elevator speech. Get that thing locked in, get it in hand, because let me tell you something. From what I understand, there is some opportunities for potential funding that is coming next year. And so we just want to be ready. We want to be ready to talk about what we do and talk about it very easily. We want it to just roll off of our tongue, be confident, be great and secure, this help that's going to be out there from what they say. We want to be ready.
Hey, Danae. Hey, Danae. Thank you for your information. I really appreciate it. I was driving, so I didn't really get to talk to you. So if we come up with the elevator speech, can we run by you?
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to check into that tutoring. I have some times on the weekend, and I noticed that the time I spend with my nephews, I have really made a difference in their understanding of the Zoom. So I really want to try to help some other families. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any questions? If not, then we are good to go for the evening. It is right at 8 o'clock. Join us tomorrow. We have a guest coming on to talk about certifications and all types of things. from California Capital. She is amazing. She is really amazing. Wealth of resources to help us be set up for potentially what's to come in 2021 financially, some opportunities that will be coming. And so we want to be ready. And her name is Sue Yi. She's an awesome, awesome, awesome presenter. She's got a wealth of information. And again, she'll talk about the certifications. If you're a veteran, you can become veteran owned or minority owned, small business owned, or what have you, small disadvantage. It's so much stuff. And it's not just for contracts for the state. It's for contracts of anything, city, counties, state, small private funders, whatever. So make sure you're here tomorrow. Encourage everyone to come back on tomorrow, 6 o'clock tomorrow. And then on Thursday at 6 o'clock, we'll be talking about the other half of marketing, which will be branding. If anybody wants to come on Thursday and review and do some role play with your elevator speech, I would love to help you guys, and we'll do it real time on Thursday if you're ready. So see you all on Thursday. Well, maybe I'll see you all tomorrow on with Sue Yi. Other than that, I will see you all on Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.